Must be a fight brewing.
Hey guys, welcome back to another League of Legends video. Today I'm going to bring you guys a pretty quick tip video talking about Sett's mechanics when I play him in the mid lane. So this is going to be a pretty interesting video. So to start off, here I show you guys pretty much all of Sett's abilities and their hitbox range. So the one thing I want to talk about that is the most important aspect of Sett in the mid lane is his deceptive range. Sett's W is pretty much the size of two Teemos starting from where he is to the target dummy. I don't know how long that is in the game, but it is pretty fucking long. And it covers the entire mid lane proportionally. Like, it covers a good central part of the map. And there I show you guys the length of Sett's Facebreaker. Sett's Facebreaker is the size of the river entrance. So whenever you play a mid, you know how long it is and how long deceptive the pole is. So the cool thing here is that Sett is the only champion in the game that has a double-sided pole, which is super strong, and it's an extremely powerful CCing ability. So if you use it against a minion, it's going to stun them. So as you see in the animation, that's like a 1.5 second stun. That's extremely important to know when you make plays on Sett. So when you hit two enemies with your Facebreaker, they're going to get stunned at an extremely long range. So if Sett pretty much goes in between the enemy and the CSer, he pretty much gets a free stun. So keep that in mind. Another thing I want to point out is that Sett's W is really long ranged, pretty much kind of like his Facebreaker. So he's unique in his own right, that the fact that he has extremely long range gives him even extremely high burst damage. So if we all know how powerful Sett can be when he has a 100% haymaker charges, he's like a bomb that's going to blow up, you know, your enemy team. So the reason why Sett's really good is because the amount of damage he takes from an enemy mid laner is going to be higher than any other lane he goes into. So when you bring him into the top lane, there are a lot of champions that can charge his haymaker. And the thing about Sett is that all of his favorable matchups I've been playing against in the preseason and in season 12 is that his matchups are the best in the mid lane than they are in the top lane, because a lot of champions in the top lane are pretty much better than he is in terms of like self-sufficiency and sustain. They could pretty much just kill Sett without really dying, if that makes sense, because Sett isn't a champion that has sustain. He's more designed to be a damage soaking mid laner than he is in the top lane, which is like a traditional juggernaut. Sett is not a true juggernaut. He's more like an anti-assassin type champion. So it's pretty unique. It's pretty hard to conceptually understand, but in the mid lane, the rate at which Sett, gets damaged is a lot higher than any other lane pretty much in the entire game. So if you go mid, you'll be able to charge up that meter really fast, and the point where they pretty much blow all their cooldowns in a single, cycle is when Sett really shines, because Sett really doesn't deal high extended damage, or he doesn't really deal that much damage in a prolonged trade. So most trades in the mid lane are quick and short bursts. That's pretty much what Sett's DPS is all about. It's not, extended trades. It's short trades with extremely high burst. So that's another thing I want to point out. So I'm gonna go back here really quick and show you some pretty important mechanics here that I kind of lost my tangent on. So like I said, the range on his W is really long, and you can pull targets like from really far away. So when you stun two targets together with that pull, it's a double-sided pull, and they get stunned. So that's pretty straightforward. So you can always use this to pretty much do that. Your Hellblades combo into your Showstopper. You can actually throw them against the wall if you stun them. Like, you have enough time to actually stun your target and throw them into a wall. So that's super important to know on Sett, which is kind of advanced. But as you learn how to play him in the mid lane, the easier it becomes, because all of his skill shots are super long. Another thing I want to point out is that, like, I know a lot of people will ask, like, why the mid lane? Well, I kind of came across this idea when I watched Faker play Aatrox mid. Now, Aatrox's abilities are pretty similar in size and scope as Sett's. Sett's W is the size of Aatrox's W, but a little bigger in terms of the hitbox, and his Facebreaker is the size of Aatrox's Qs, which are, I know, totally different, skills in their own right, but the length of their hitboxes are the same in length, but just a little bigger on Sett. So that's the interesting thing. Sett is pretty much Aatrox mid. Like the design and concept that I'm thinking of is pretty much the same as when Faker played Aatrox mid. So if you pretty much compare that to Sett, Sett is pretty much a hybrid of Darius and Aatrox. He's extremely powerful, but he has no healing. He has super high burst, and he has a big fat shield, which makes that even more unique on him. So that's kind of what I wanted to get across. So yeah, this is pretty much like a more like a theoretical video of like why it works out, and it's just the range on his abilities allow you to pretty much wind up a lot of plays. It's pretty difficult to play Sett like this. I know a lot of like average Sett players play him top, but if you really want to max out like the capability of this champion, you have to play him in the mid lane with Hellblades. It's so disgusting how powerful it is. And here I pretty much just do the same thing. I just pretty much double-sided pull like a target dummy and just throw him against the wall. So you pretty much know what that means if you get thrown against the wall. You know, like the animation is going to stop, and that slow is just, it feels like it's a life. Like, it feels like it's forever, you know? Like, and that's the whole point of this video, is to show you guys like what you can do. Like the range of his, abilities are really deceptive. So even though you might be saying or thinking like Sett doesn't have any mobility, well, he actually has very high movement speed on his Q, where he gets bonus movement speed as he runs towards his target. So if you pay attention to the movement speed, he gets like a 50 to 60 movement speed, increase. Especially if you're on Celerity, if you pay attention to the movement speed, like right next to my webcam border, you pretty much see like how fast he goes. Even if you flash and pull someone, his movement speed is going to be really high, and you won't be able to get away from him if he comes at you. So another thing that I want to get last in this video is Sett's matchups in the mid lane. So like I said, Sett doesn't really do very well in the top lane in season 11, because ever since a lot of mythics came out, a lot of champions just went up, the fucking ladder, and Sett just got like completely dumped to the bottom. If you actually play Sett against like really high contested picks like Aatrox, Volibear, Mordekaiser, even Trundle, Tryndamere, a lot of champions are hard to fucking kill. And Sett doesn't really do well against, like champions that are pretty much unkillable and that can really heal your damage. So this is why Sett is better than the mid lane, because his trades are just more impactful, and he really doesn't need to like do that much, because in the top lane, you have more of a tougher time just CSing and trading than you do in the mid lane, because Sett's lane dominance is pretty much 90% to 95% of all of his matchups. He's good against control mages, AD assassins, and some mage assassins. His biggest weaknesses are like Ahri, LeBlanc, and majorly LeBlanc, Ahri, and Echo, because they can heal, kite you, and immobilize you at the same time, and it's really annoying. But they can never kill you. That's the one thing. So you want to, be aware of those matchups. And one very last thing is how powerful Sett's playmaking capabilities are. Is that all of his skill shots pretty much can just fuck your team up. Like if you can just land like a really good ultimate, a really good pull, a very good haymaker, all your setups are actually going to be very impactful. And I'm not kidding when I say Sett is the best team fighter in the game. Better than Yasuo, better than Jarvan. Like, he's the best at what he does. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This is a little quick, you know, tip video that I want to just point out and like why I do what I do in Sett in the mid lane. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one and stay tuned for my future guides. All right, peace, guys.